Properly structured and max-funded IUL knocks the socks off a 401k. In this episode, I am going to address the question, is IUL better than a 401k? Yes, but it has to be structured properly. So put on your seatbelt. I'm going to explain what you need to do, and it will outperform a 401k, the average in this country, by as much as double or quadruple the net spendable retirement income if you do what I'm going to teach you. So what do I know? My name's Doug Andrew, and I've been doing this for north of 46 years. I've actually been helping people optimize their financial assets and minimize taxes for 4.5 decades, and I do that by showing them how to put their hard-earned money for long-term goals longer than 5 years, which typically would be retirement or real estate management or working capital for their business or college funding for their kids when they go to college. Any long-term goal by using my favorite vehicle, which I call the laser fund. Laser means liquid asset safely earning returns, but it's what I call a max-funded tax-advantaged insurance contract. And it will knock the socks off of a 401k. But let's first of all talk about what a 401k has. What are the features? Why do people, in my opinion, get duped into putting tons of money into 401ks? And why now many of the pundits and many of the original champions of 401ks in a recent Wall Street Journal article said they lament the day they ever came up with that idea of a 401k. But it's become a popular thing, and it was only meant to be for a select few situations, but it all of a sudden took over. And frankly, people are going to outlive their money because of what most 401ks cannot do. So let's first talk about the features of a 401k. When people put money into the company-sponsored 401k plan, a lot of times they just follow the herd. Well, everybody's doing it. You work here, you meet here with our HR person. You want to belong to the 401k. The company will match 50 cents on the dollar. If you put in 4%, and they'll match another 2% or whatever. And so people say, oh, sounds good to me. I'm using pre-tax money. So the lure is to put in pre-tax dollars because you get a tax break on the contributions you're putting in there, and that will grow to a bigger sum of money. Oh, you will have to pay tax when you retire, but you'll likely be in a lower bracket then. Now, that's the whole premise of a 401k or an IRA for that matter, or a 403b or a 457, any of these qualified plans. The traditional ones, you get a tax break on the contribution phase, the seed money you're putting into there. It accumulates tax deferred. Not tax-free, tax-deferred. And then when you go to access your money, it's now time to pay Uncle Sam, your partner. And in 41 out of 50 states, you also have to pay the state income tax on whatever you take out of that 401k. So most people think, well, I'll be in a lower bracket. Well, that has not been true for more than 25 years. In fact, it took the financial services industry until just a couple of years ago to finally admit, that was not the best advice. Most people are not in lower tax brackets because they've been killing their deductions along the way, paying off their house. The kids are gone. You can't deduct them anymore. You're not contributing money to 401ks for retirement. If you're a business owner, you don't have those deductions. And Congress keeps raising taxes. So most people agree that taxes will likely be higher. So why do we want to continue to postpone, delay, procrastinate paying tax in a 401k to some big nest egg, some perceived unknown advantage, and then withdraw our money down the road when, frankly, we're going to be in as higher bracket as we've ever been in, even with less income, because we killed the deductions along the way that we were enjoying while we were earning the money. People go, I've never thought of it that way. Now, savvy CPAs and tax attorneys that I train, they go, oh yeah. And the worst place to leave money when you die is in a 401k or an IRA. And yet, what do most people tell you to do? Oh, if you don't need the money, leave it there until you're 72 and then take out RMDs, required minimum distributions. That's the worst advice I've ever heard. So I've helped many people get the money out in as little as 5 years, and the tax is over and done with at today's lower rates. But the key is to reposition the money into something that's going to be tax-free from now on. And so when people ask a question like, well, is IUL better than a 401k? Well, the short answer is, if you can put money into a 401k or you can put it into an IUL, if you're not being matched in particular, I would take the IUL any day because I will likely earn a higher rate of return if it's properly structured. It's totally tax-free. It's better than a Roth 401k because it has 4 benefits that Roths do not have. Roths only have 2. IUL has 6 benefits. So why would I want to put money into a 401k when I can have far greater benefits even if it's a Roth 401k? But really, it's sometimes confusing because people say, well, my employer will match me 50 cents on the dollar. Well, your employer's being nice. They're covering maybe your future tax liability. Every dollar you contribute to the 401k, if they match 50 cents on the dollar, now you got $1.50. If you pull out that $1.50, you owe a third of the $1.50, 50 cents in tax. So your employer was sort of covering your future tax liability if taxes stay at 33%. The General Accountability Office says that taxes will likely go to 50, 60, or 70%. So maybe even a 50% match is not that great of a benefit at the end of the day. That's for you to decide. The problem is most people that would come to me, if they put in 4%, the company might match 2%. But they went in and put in 8% or 10%. I said, what are you putting in more than you're being matched on? Well, I didn't know where else to put it. No, you should never put in more than you're being matched. You definitely ought to put that money into an indexed universal life insurance contract. Now, what's better about an IUL and what makes it far better than the 401k? So the first big benefit of IUL is it's non-qualified. See, a 401k is a qualified plan. Qualified with who? The IRS. You have all these hoops you have to jump through. These strings that are attached. You can only put in a certain dollar amount per year or a certain percent of your income. You can't touch the money before age 59 and a half or else there's a 10% penalty on top of the tax. By the time you're 72, you have to start withdrawing money or there's a 50% penalty on top of the tax because they want you to get the money out in tax because this has been their savings bond. They've been planning on getting tax revenue when you're ready to cash in and start taking money out of that thing. So that's what I mean by strings attached. An IUL doesn't have those. I can put in to an IUL, if I design it to accommodate $100,000 a year, I can. 200, 300,000. We have people who design their IUL to accommodate $1 million a year. So it doesn't matter if you're putting in $1,000 a month or you're putting in $1 million a year. You can do that in an IUL. You can't do that in a 401k. Now, when you put the money in, you don't have to put that much in. In fact, if you could put in $300,000 and you don't, you only put in $10,000 or $30,000, you have a bunch of room you didn't use, $270,000 of room. I can make that up in the second, third, fourth, fifth year. Anytime down the road, I can put in huge amounts of money. If I inherited money or sold my business or whatever, I can make up for all the years I could have put in $300 and I didn't. You can't do that with a 401k. Once you don't use the room for a contribution in a given year, you lose it forever. And so I like the flexibility of an IUL. I can put in large amounts during banner years. I don't have to put in anything. I can coast. But if I did put in $300,000 and I needed 30 days later to take out $250,000 for an emergency or to seize a real estate opportunity or whatever, I can do that. I can pull out money out of my IUL for any reason. I don't have to prove. I don't have to prove that I have a hardship or something. I have flexibility to access the money. I don't pay penalties to do that. And so I can put money in, take it out, but by using indexing. See, indexing allows me that when the market does well, I get to benefit when the market goes up because my return is linked to an index. It's not invested in the market. It's not invested in the Standard & Poor's 500 or the Dow Jones. No, the insurance company has to keep my money safe. So if the economy crashes, I don't lose. If I have $1 million in there, I will keep my $1,000,000 even if the market drops 40%. But if the market gains 10, 20, 30, 40%, I can earn whatever the economy is doing, maybe up to a cap of 16% or 25%. But if the economy loses, I don't lose because my money is not at risk in the market. It's in the insurance company. It's earning the general account portfolio rate. Even if that's only 4 or 5%, I'm earning $50,000 a year of interest. But if I tell the insurance company, you can take that interest and buy upside options to pay me 10, 15, 16, 25% when the market goes up, fine, I'm willing to relinquish that if I guess wrong and the market goes down. But I don't lose my million. And so that's called indexing. It allows you to earn money when the market goes up and not lose a dime due to market volatility when the market crashes. This is what allows me to earn average rates of return between 7 to 10%. I've actually averaged 11, netting 10. All the costs of the insurance and everything usually only drains out about 1 percentage point. So if I earn 11, I net 10. You would be hard pressed to show me a 401k earning 11 and netting you 10%. If they earned 11, after tax, you would be lucky to only have maybe 6 or 7%. If you earn 12% in a 33% bracket, you'd only net 8, plus they have to subtract another 1% usually for asset management fees in a 401k. So if you earn 12, you're only netting 7. I only have to earn 8 to net 7 in an IUL, but I can earn 11 and net 10. So that's why the IUL, I think, is far superior. It has greater flexibility. It earns more predictable rates of return that are tax-free. And when inflation happens, inflation helps me. It doesn't hinder me because I link my returns to the things that are inflating. So an IUL, I think, is far superior to a 401k. Now, people naturally ask, well, what about a Roth? So that's a legitimate question. A Roth is a step in the right direction, but again, Roths are qualified plans. They have strings attached. You can only put in a certain dollar amount or a certain percent of your income. You can roll money over to a Roth with a one-time lump sum or whatever, but you have all those strings attached. Roths only have 2 benefits. You fund it with after-tax dollars. It accumulates tax-free. You can access it tax-free. Max-funded IUL, Indexed Universal Life, which I call the laser fund, has those 2 benefits. They've had those benefits for over 100 years in the Internal Revenue Code. But I have 4 additional benefits. I've already mentioned them. You didn't know what I was talking about maybe. I can throw in huge lump sums. You can't do that with a Roth. I can put in smaller amounts and make up for room that I didn't use. You can't do that with a Roth. I can put in money and 30 days later pull it out. You can't do that with a Roth. You have to wait 5 years until you're 59 and a half. 401ks don't allow you to use indexing. You could have a 401k using index funds. That's not the same thing. You could lose 30 or 40% in an index mutual fund. I'm talking about index strategies. Indexing is a strategy, but there's not a Roth around that will blossom in value when you die. If I died right now at age 68 in an accident, every $1 million in my Indexed Universal Life Insurance contracts would blossom to about $2.5 million and transfer income tax-free. So why would I want a Roth when I can have the 2 benefits of a Roth and 4 additional advantages that Roths will never have? So that's why I feel that IUL knocks the socks off of any 401k. It blows them out of the water. Other than that, I don't have any strong feelings on that subject. But if you want to be convinced, you ought to read my latest book. So my most recent best-selling book is titled The Laser Fund. Laser means liquid assets, safely earning returns. It spells that acronym. It's 300 pages. It retails for $20. I'll gift it to you free. To claim your free copy, simply go to laserfund.com, L-A-S-E-R, fund.com. You simply pay $5.95 shipping and handling. I'll pay for the book. You pay for the shipping. There's also options there if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn with video. But this will begin your enlightenment on why IUL will knock the socks off of a 401k in almost any situation you could show me.